Yo, what's up guys? We have chapter 53 of the Shiunji Family, and yeah, we're just gonna hop straight into it. The chapter did drop a little late, it dropped last night, and I read it and I have a few thoughts and opinions on it. Yeah, basically this is a little date that Banri is going on with Kyochan. Judging by Kyochan's character, just from the last few chapters, we got that he was kind of just like quiet, but also independent and self-sufficient a little bit. And in this chapter, we kind of see his true colors, right? You know, if you've seen the chapter, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're just gonna talk about it. From the last few chapters, Banri's been in this really bad situation, in this kind of, it looks like, abusive relationship, as we do confirm now with this chapter. So the allegations are correct. Kyochan is not a good person, it seems to be. Enough yapping, we'll hop straight into it. So, we start off the chapter, and we see that they're on the date, right? We're just continuing with their storyline, and we do get a cover page of Arata and Banri just dancing. And yeah, nothing too fancy, pretty cool though. But hopping to the actual chapter, it looks like Kyochan and Banri are at like a coffee shop, and they just, you know, have like a little normal conversation. Chan's like, "Are you okay, Banri? What's going on?" Banri says she's fine and whatever. You know, of course she's just thinking back to the past events that have happened in the past few days, basically. But it looks like at the beginning of the chapter, Kyochan is kind of being a supportive boyfriend. Basically, he's saying that he'll be patient with her because he knows how she is. But Banri then goes and asks for the sugar, right? And this kind of gets Kyochan to start going on a little rant. And this is where we start to see him not being the greatest. Like, basically, his personality is just kind of trash, right? He starts going off on some, like, red pill rant, saying how men are ambitious. What, like, you know, he's just kind of going off on Banri right now. You know, when I first read this, I thought this was just kind of, you know, him being fed up with Banri a little bit. But it looks like this is just his normal behavior as we get later in the story. And yeah, he's just very demanding and just kind of rude, right? He's like, "You can be stupid sometimes. Don't you think you have to listen and do what you're told?" He really just does not seem like a good person, right? I don't really know how else to put this other than it's just like, we're seeing firsthand, hey, this is not a good relationship that they're in right now. I didn't expect it to be this kind of forward. I expected it to be more subtle, hopping into it. Like, of course, my mentality going in was like, okay, yeah, Kyochan is gonna be kind of a bad boyfriend, but it seems like the story is just kind of progressing very quickly to a point where Kyochan's just like a villain, bro. Like, he's not even like, there's no redeeming qualities about him other than he's just like successful or like put together, I guess. But yeah, he basically is just kind of going off on weird like Andrew Tate type like rants to his girlfriend, just complaining about everything that she does. You know, Banri's kind of, you know, trying to ease the situation, and then she's just asking like, "Oh, do you think I'm fat or something?" And then Kyochan's like, "No, that's not the issue here." And then yeah, he just keeps going off about just like weird stuff about society and how this isn't how, you know, a member of society should act. I don't know, he just like, he's a weird character, bro. It really seems like he fell for the red pill trap. I mean, that's just kind of the character he is, man. I don't really like it. I don't really see how Banri even got herself into this type of situation. Maybe we'll get more of like their backstory on how they like even started as a relationship, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that major of an arc, right? Just going back to like the other girls in the series, their arcs weren't very long, right? I mean, they were kind of just like short bursts of a lot of information, and I'm just assuming the same's gonna kind of happen here. Like Oka, for example, you know, she was just remembering her past and like with her mother and how she fell in love, like how her mother and their father fell in love, and she kind of wanted to replicate that situation. That was kind of Oka's arc. Same thing with Manami, right? It was more of like whatever, her sports festival kind of thing. And then they had like the little dates. But yeah, I just assumed that Banri's arc is gonna kind of follow the same suit. The only thing here is that her situation is just kind of completely different in regards to the other girls. The other girls were like, I guess it was involving their lives, but they just weren't as serious of a situation like this. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I just didn't expect the development to be this crazy quick. Like, I just didn't think we're just gonna be like, oh, Kyochan's just an asshole, basically. But that's what we're getting. And then a crazy thing that happens here is that Kyochan demands that Banri gives him her phone. And then he's basically asking like, oh, have you been seeing other guys? And he's like, oh, I'm glad that you haven't been. And yeah, it's just a very weird dynamic that they have. You know, he's just kind of demanding her phone, and then he just kind of goes and scrolls through it. I mean, I guess that's not like the worst thing, because, you know, every relationship is different. People like to do things in different ways, but just judging by the way that Kyochan has been acting, you know, in basically this chapter, it's like, he's basically just toxic, you know what I mean? And yeah, basically Banri didn't tell him that she had like a little gathering, like a little get together with some friends, and he kind of goes ballistic on her and starts lecturing her. But yeah, we get just a couple of panels. It's really just a disgusting kind of situation. It's just grimy. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't even see how she's really putting up with this, right? It's like, or how she even get into this situation. That's kind of what I'm interested in. It's like, dude, how is this even happening? But yeah, I'm assuming for next chapter, we're just gonna have Arata step in and save the day, kind of. But yeah, moving on, they enter, and I guess they're just like window shopping, and they go to like a luxury brand store, right? There's like a kid there that was with their parents, and Kyochan is furious. He's like, kids shouldn't belong here. It ruins the entire experience. And he's just visibly angry, and he's like venting Banri about it, and he's being loud so the kid, you know, can kind of overhear him. He's just getting super frustrated. Banri's trying to calm him down and saying that it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, he ends up getting to the point where he goes and he kicks the kid, because I guess he like bumped into him, or he's just like super close to him. He goes and he like kicks the kid, and he's just like basically saying like that's what he deserved, and that he hates kids. And this is kind of like a double-edged, like not double-edged, but this is like kind of a double whammy, right? At least for Banri, because first and foremost, she's like, you know, this is just bad behavior, right? This dude is bad-mouthing like a little kid, bro. And then he goes and kicks the kid and starts saying that he hates kids, right? Like, Banri is, you know, her, like what we've been getting from her character is that she wants to be like a motherly figure, and she loves kids. You know, she just went with Arata, like kind of on a semi-date or whatever, and she went and bought some like stationery sets for like the kids, right? And then she starts seeing her boyfriend like abusing kids, and she's not having it, right? She's trying to be super apologetic, and it's just like she kind of feels hopeless in this situation. It's like, what are you supposed to do? You know, Kyochan's just still being the same, just bad person. I mean, he's a bad character, right? No really redeeming qualities other than he looks cool, and I guess he's like in college and he's doing stuff. But, you know, I mean, personality is what matters in the end, and it's like, just as Arata said, Banri could do so much better. Especially if she's getting beat by this dude. Like, what? How is she even putting up with this? I don't know. But yeah, after this whole situation, Banri decides to go and stand up for herself. Like, she starts getting mad at Kyochan for, you know, his actions. And he's kind of almost taking her situation, her like frustration lightly, saying like, oh, are you trying to fight or something? And yeah, Kyochan goes on this rant about how, you know, not all kids can be saved, and that, you know, some kids deserve this kind of treatment, and that they need to respect people who are actually doing something. And yeah, he's just very unapologetically just mean and rude. And yeah, basically after his, you know, third lecture at this point, he like demands Banri to keep going on with him, you know, walking with him. And this is where she's like, no, I can't do this anymore. And we get a classic anime kind of fogged up glasses moment from Kyochan looking back at her, and that's the end of the chapter. So what's gonna happen here? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure at all. You know, I really didn't expect this much development from Kyochan, or at least this much being revealed this early, but it looks like to me what I said from last chapter was gonna be true. Something's gonna have to happen to Banri, and, you know, Arata's gonna have to be the superhero and save everything. You know, I really don't like the situation that they're in right now, because Banri literally just kind of said, basically to Kyochan, like, hey, we need to break up, kind of. That's kind of the message that she's giving off to him, because she can't deal with his bullshit anymore, right? She doesn't, like, she loves kids, and this dude literally just said to her face, I hate kids. And he's also just being rude to not only her, but just like everyone around him, right? Just like classic alpha male, you know, just being like that. But yeah, Next chapter, what I assume is gonna happen is something I don't want, to happen, but I assume they're going to get into some type of altercation because they are out on their dates right now. But like, and I don't think Arata is just like peering over them, and like watching guard this entire time. If he is, I guess that's just bad story writing. Like, Reiji has already had complete trash story writing in his other series. Please don't bring it into here. Yeah, I'm not talking about Rent a Girlfriend right now. But yeah, I feel like what's gonna happen is something bad's gonna have to happen to Banri, and then, we can kind of get to a conclusion. Yeah, man, I don't really know what to expect. I mean, we've been getting bombshells out of this author from whatever he's been writing. This chapter was no different. And yeah, I'm just hoping that this series can actually be, become something good, because I feel like the character designs are really amazing. The characters are kind of tropey, but at the same time, there is nuance to all of them, and we're not given like, I mean, in my opinion, I still think Oka is like the most guaranteed to win at this point in the story, but it's nice to see that the other girls are also getting similar screen time. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of this chapter. It was just kind of what I expected, a little more on the extreme side. We got Kyochan's personality quirks basically all in this chapter, so I'm assuming that we're not really gonna get any more, and yeah, I think we're just gonna move on with the story past this point. I don't really want to talk on the specifics of this particular arc that they're on, and I'd rather focus on kind of thinking about what's going to happen in the future, because it's like whatever's going to happen here is going to get resolved, as with all the other girls in the series got resolved. I don't know how it's going to happen. My best guess is just something bad's going to happen to Banri, that's it. But yeah, going past this point, I would like to see, all of the girls kind of getting closer to each other. At least, even all of the family members kind of getting closer to each other, especially if they all have to go and save Banri. It'd be a good bonding moment. Like, in the series, it does feel a lot like Day in the Life, kind of, and anything goes, right? As with like any kind of harem anime type thing, there's not really an overarching story. Especially in this case, Nisako's a little different because they had the promised girl and they were trying to figure out who that was. The quintessential quintuplets kind of had they had their progression through high school. And then we have Cafe Goddess. That was, that's still ongoing right now, and that's almost that's wrapping up. But yeah, there's like a deadline. Like, there's deadlines with those series. I just don't know how this one is really gonna play out, because there's not really, because all of the girls are like different, like basically all the family members are different ages. So I'm not too sure how the timelines are gonna sync up, and I don't really see a real clear goal. So maybe we get the dad coming back. Maybe it's like a crazy altercation. Maybe Banri gets seriously injured. Something crazy happens and the dad needs to come back to help, and maybe give them like a new objective, new mission, new direction in the story. But right now, after this arc, I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't really see anything. But the story is good, right? It has a good premise. I feel like just I can't see a clear path on where we're gonna go in the future. And yeah, I think the anime is done by now. I haven't been keeping up with week or seasonal anime in a minute. But yeah, I know Rent a Girlfriend's season 4 is out right now. I don't know what's happening in it. Probably some dog shit, to be honest with you. But yeah, this kind of turned into a rant. I didn't mean for that too. But yeah, more of kind of what I expected. If you saw the last episode or the last chapter that I did covering this series, kind of the same. It's just gonna be what it's gonna be. It's another train wrecky kind of series from the same author as Rent a Girlfriend. But to be honest, I am more excited for other series that are out right now. Kanojo ni Iwaki did get some new chapters. I waited. I got a chapter last week, and it also got one this week, but I waited to cover it because I didn't know if it was going to be consistent, because it's been off and on for the longest time. But I do really like that series. I honestly think that is probably going to be my favorite series in the upcoming future if it keeps, coming out consistently. Other than that, Lemon's super good. And yeah, if you have any intellectual input that you would like to share, please do so. I mean, this series, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Maybe other people have like better theories and better critical thinking skills than me. But yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, I'll see y'all.
I run away, into the world with you. I'm not nothing more